So good morning and welcome to OpenGov TV. I have the distinct pleasure of having Minister Gobind over here from Malaysia and Eklavya, Bhave from Coursera. What we're discussing today is a shortage of skills, which we understand is global, but it's also local. And how can we go on this journey? Because let's face it, Gen AI is throwing everybody's game off, right? We're trying to incorporate stuff with the exact same people. That's a little hard because technology for the very first time is moving faster than ever before. So, Minister Gobind, if I may ask you, sir, as Malaysia continues, and it is continuing its journey towards a digital first government, a skills first approach, as you have been talking about, becoming more and more crucial. What are the key digital and technological skills that you believe are most crucial in enhancing the adaptability and performance of Malaysia's public sector workforce, sir?
Thank you, Mohit. As you know, the Ministry of Digital was set up specifically to look into areas of digital transformation impacting on our country. And it was set up in December of 2023, which makes us a relatively new ministry, but of course with a very, very important portfolio. And that really means a lot of work to do and with very, very little time on our hands. The focus of the ministry was to first and foremost understand what digital transformation meant or means to the country so that we can look at it from a very, very holistic point of view and understand how we can build ecosystems that will support this transformation as we move along. Three key areas that we are focused on, and I'll explain to you why this is important as I go along, is first infrastructure, the second security, and then the third talent. Now, when you speak about infrastructure, you look at areas involving connectivity. That's something that is, of course, crucial. Without connectivity, then nothing will move. After connectivity, you look at this generation technology, which has, of course, empowered the connectivity that you've had earlier, and then you start looking at what next. In other words, infrastructure is something that's evolving. It's going to be a new technology as you go along, and I think you need to start thinking about how it is you can make preparations for that as you go along, because you want to be able to take advantage of technology when it presents opportunities immediately. You don't want to be in a position where you have to start thinking about new technology and then building structures or infrastructure around it only then, which means that you are already on the back footing. So, of course, if you look at connectivity and you look at now at AI, Gen AI, and moving ahead, of course, different types of AI, as we can label it broadly, we need to start thinking about what kind of structures you need to have in place so that you are able to ensure that your country, its people, industries, government are able to take full advantage of it. So, in that context, there's a whole layer of skills that you need to speak about. And I'll come to that in a moment. Then you have security. You know, you can have the best infrastructure in the world, but ultimately you need to make sure that it is secure, because there's this element of trust. You need to be able to tell people that infrastructure is available, infrastructure will be able to empower them, explain to them how that infrastructure will empower them. So you need to convince them to come on board this new journey of digital transformation, and that's where trust becomes key. I think everyone acknowledges the fact that technology has changed everything, but there's this concern as to whether or not taking or partaking in this new way of doing things would mean that you're going to open yourself up to risks, new risks. And I think that's a very real concern. We need to address it. And this is why we always speak about AI in a safety context. You know, we acknowledge that AI presents huge and tremendous opportunities. That's insofar as the benefits are concerned. But there's also the other side of it, which relates to security and trust. So when you speak about security and trust, you're looking at cybersecurity, but there's this broader element to it. Cybersecurity is a part of it, but you're looking to ensure that every single layer that you are going to create and build so that you can prepare your country with an ecosystem that's prepared for digital transformation is secure. That's what we describe as the digital trust. And that's the broader aspect of security as and which comes under the second pillar. That's crucial. Again, if you are able to acknowledge and accept that that's critical, you will start to need to think about skills that will be able to prepare you for that. And that's going to revolve around cybersecurity skills. You're looking at also what trust really means, what digital trust means, what strategies you need to put in place. And that ultimately will define to you what kind of skills sets you need to make it work. And inevitably, it will also, expose you to the fact that there are many new areas that you need to start thinking about. And this is something that I think we need to acknowledge now so that we can start building conversations around it, and then thinking of how it is we can chart our way forward so that we can get the right skill sets in place to develop these ecosystems as we go along. Now, thirdly, you have infrastructure and infrastructure that is secure, and you are able to convince people that they should come aboard, as I said earlier, this digital transformation journey, and it's going to impact on them. But it's really of no use if no one knows how to use this technology. So the third pillar becomes key, and that is talent. Now, talent in the context of you having in place already infrastructure, having in place already new present technology and next generation technology in mind, cybersecurity, trust, then talent in terms of how you can teach people what AI is. So that's the awareness element. And once there is awareness, you need to start thinking of how they can adopt. Adoption is going to be a huge challenge for us because adoption will depend on how much you can reach out to people from all sectors. Every sector is going to have different challenges. They have different interests. They will have different ways of doing things. They will have different requirements, different demands. And the skill requirements in respect of all those layers will also differ according to their needs. So again, it's a conversation that's a lot broader than I think we think, with the greatest respect. And then there's the whole question of making sure that you're able to scale.
No, I cannot agree with you more, sir. And that's a lot that you just put in there, and thank you for that because it sets the tone. Eklavya, coming to you, organizations like Coursera, for example, partner with government, and exactly what the minister just said. Cyber is a big thing. Gen AI is a big thing. Data science is a big thing. But exactly what the minister is saying. You got a finite group of people who try and do an insane amount of work at a very fast speed. So how is your organization helping government or public sector, especially in Malaysia and the region, helping them on this journey? Number one. Number two, how are you measuring this? Because that's the important bit, right? You got to get it there. And then you got to upskill them and measure that so they feel success at the end of this.
Yeah, thanks, Mohit. And before I start sharing with you how we'll be partnering with the government, one of the things that we have seen in the last few years is earlier the talent and skilling or education was just the responsibility of Ministry of Education.
Mm.
But right now you heard Minister himself talking about skilling talent so eloquently and stitching it all together. So it's not just the responsibility of Ministry of Education or Ministry of HRD, but I think we are seeing ministries of IT, digital finance, all coming together because that's a key element of nation building. How we partner with the different governments depends on different stages of the programs. So, for example, some of the programs which are well established, we become more of an execution partner. For example, in Singapore, we part of the Skills Future program, which has been running successfully. So we became part of Skills Future last year, and now Singaporeans who have Skills Future credit can learn on Coursera and build skills. While in some of the other programs, we've been part of the ideation stage to define what skills are important to reach the objective that the ministry or the government established. For example, I'll give you two examples from Central Asia. One is Uzbekistan, and the ministry and the government of Uzbekistan wanted to make or have the ambition of making Uzbekistan as a digital economy. Now, one of the first things of making a country a digital economy is having the right infrastructure. But the second important element is the talent. And we worked with the government of Uzbekistan to look at what are the talent, what are the areas that the government needs to focus on, and partnered with the Ministry of Digital and Finance and IT in Uzbekistan to create a program which they called 1 million talent in Uzbekistan, which is creating a talent pipeline of 1 million Uzbekistanis in the field of IT, digital infra, cybersecurity, etc. And talking about the impact, earlier this year, Uzbekistan for the first time entered into top 100 companies of in the startup ecosystem. And that's what they wanted, is to make sure that they are up there. Because if you have the talent, then the companies would start investing in your country, and then it also leads to job creation. So that was one program. Another program was aligned with Ministry of Education in Kazakhstan, where they said, if you look at top private universities, they have the fund, they have the talent, they have the faculty members, but what about the universities which are not in the top tier cities? And there we partnered with the Ministry of Education to make sure that irrespective of the location, the students and the faculty get access to the same kind of content so that they are able to build the faculty at scale and also help students to become more ready for the job world. And again, the impact is many universities in the last 2 to 3 years have improved their global rankings, because that's something that they aim to do, not only to have their own universities up there in the global rankings, but also help their faculty and students to acquire the skills which are needed. So these are some of the ways which we are partnering with the governments.
That exactly situated with what the minister just said, because he was talking about the digital divide at one stage. Connectivity is what he focused on. When you make a nation connected, you have these courses available all the time, anywhere, as opposed to, only when the light is on, for example. So you can take this offline. So, Minister, I want to ask you, sir, the same question I want to ask Eklavya. This is awesome in principle, but it comes with some sets of challenges, right? How do we overcome that challenge of getting people to actually go on these so-called courses and to develop themselves? Because the human race is very comfortable the way it is. But here comes this entire digital, I want to call it a transformation. It's a boom right now, where technology for the very first time is advancing faster than we can cope with the speed of rollout. So what do you think of the challenges this brings in, and how do you anticipate public sector specifically in Malaysia trying to overcome these challenges, sir?
There is this. I've always had concerns about how we define things. Earlier, we spoke about awareness. That may mean different things to different people. And let me just define it insofar as I'm concerned. Awareness means asking people to acknowledge the fact that we are in a world in which technology will change how it is we live, how it is we do our businesses, and how it is, and as I said, I keep saying, we even govern. But it doesn't stop there. It's really about understanding how technology will impact on each and every one of us in the context that I have said earlier, in terms of how it is you live, in terms of how it is you do business, in terms of how it is you interact with government. What does that mean? That really means that we are looking at a time in which, if we are able to capitalize on technology, then we improve. So I think it's now really a question of how it is we are able to explain this in a way that will it will get people thinking about the fact that technology is something that is available, is something that they can quite easily adopt.
Correct.
And if they did that, then they are the ones that are going to succeed as a result. Of course, there are risks involved, and that's also a conversation that we take very seriously. But the moment you're able to get them thinking about how it can help them and empower them, then I think that's where the spark, what do you call, really, that's where the spark really is.
Okay.
If we were able to, expand connectivity and put a smart device in everyone's hand, and then getting them to have access to all the information that the world has to offer, which slowly means that they will be able to understand what technology can do for them individually because they had the freedom to look for themselves into all that information that was available to them through the device. That's how they started, what do you
Yeah.
call, upskilling themselves and also building themselves, preparing themselves for this new digital world. So it's now really the next phase. You've
Yeah.
got your smart device. You know how to use it. We use it every day. In fact, a lot of people are very, very dependent on it. So it's a question of what next.
Yeah.
You're able to convince everyone that just like things have evolved, which made things better for us, which made things more efficient, which resulted in us doing things faster, cheaper, increasing our productivity. Here's the next leap. And if everyone's able to look at it from that perspective, where they say, okay, look, this is something that can really help me, then I think we're going to be able to see things moving a lot faster. So when we look at digital transformation, it is digital transformation, what do you call, it's across government. And I think you're quite right earlier to say that it's not just one ministry, and that's why the Ministry of Digital exists. It basically stretches across all ministries.
Absolutely.
Different industries, different challenges, different requirements. You have smart devices today, which means that people have access to quick and short what do you call courses that will explain to them what technology can do for them in those industries to help them. So it's also a way of I think that when you speak about change, we have to really redefine what change means as well. We can do things a lot different today, a lot faster, with a lot more impact.
No, Chief, you're absolutely right, Mister. Because you know what? And you're right. America is X amount of trillion. But if you look at Asia, you've got China, India, Japan, the three other number two, number three, number four economies
Yep.
sitting right over here. And ASEAN is on a swing up there. So I'm with you. So, Eklavya, very quickly to you, sir. What do you see as the biggest challenges in public sector upskilling, and how are you guys helping them?
Yeah, I mean, based on our experience of working with the public sector, and it's not just limited to public sector, but
Mm,
even private sector, right? Because every sector is grappling with similar things nowadays.
right.
There are three things that we see come across as a common theme. First is knowing what skills to build.
Mm.
When we talk to people and departments, earlier they would say, we want to build IT skills. And IT is not one skill, right? What do you do? Just double click on that. And people would say, we want to develop data skills. Again, data is not just one skill. Do you want to develop skills for a data analyst or a data engineer or a data scientist? All of them would require a different set of skills. So what we do is to look at learner base on our platform, which is more than 170 million learners. We look at what they are learning. We also partner with external organizations such as World Economic Forum to define what skills are relevant for which role and
Mm.
define a learning pathway for different specific roles so that people learn what they should learn, which will help them in their roles. So that's the first thing. Second is speed and scale. Um, there have been departments and organizations which have been talking about skilling for last 1 year. Things have completely changed. Somebody was talking about just IT skills and cybersecurity skills last year. Suddenly now, in beginning of 2024, they started talking about AI. Before they could implement the AI policy and AI skilling, now they are talking about Gen AI. So if you keep waiting, you'll always be catching up. So the speed is extremely important, specifically in these times. Along with the speed is the scale, because especially in the public sector, if you're looking at building skills at scale, you can't build those skills by getting like 50 people in a room. For specific skill areas, you definitely need to have in-person skilling sessions, etc. But as Minister said, if you want to develop skills at scale, companies, individuals, and the organizations need to look at online learning, which helps you build skills at scale. And the third and the most important piece is, what are you measuring? we still see a lot of organizations and departments measuring the impact just by number of learning hours, right? Our employees have learned 10 hours for this year. Number of learning hours don't help you much unless you're measuring the skill. So that's why what kind of content, what source are you learning from? Because you and I might be learning on the same topic while you would be going on a random course which is available online, while I might be going to a more reputable source. The skills developed by both of us would be very different, though we would have spent the same number of hours. So, for example, if you have to build a skill on analytics, I mean, I would rather go on Coursera and learn on Google Analytics. If I want to learn about digital marketing, I can go to Coursera platform and learn from Meta, Facebook, which is a leader in digital marketing. So that's why the third and most important piece is where are you spending that learning hours on, and then what are you measuring? So I think I would say the speed and scale. Second is knowing what skills to build. And third is what are we measuring in terms of the output of the learning programs.
No, thank you. You know, it's interesting. We have almost said everything. You know, Minister mentioned policy. Okay, brought in MyDIGITAL. It's cross agency. It's not, it's not one person's responsibility. Just like cybersecurity is cross every employee. It's not about a person who is my CISO or the expert in that place. So, Minister, I am going to shift the last question, if I may, sir, and just ask you, what would be your advice to the Malaysian public sector by large, on what you are seeing from your lens, okay, and how should they go down that journey of upskilling, okay, trying to get the extra mile, exactly what Eklavya just said, okay, because you got to get the right course with the right amount of time to upskill yourself. Otherwise, it doesn't happen, sir. So words of wisdom, please, Chief, from you.
Thank you. If I could just before that take up this point that was made earlier. See, I think governments have got it's a delicate balance. On the one hand, you don't want to be too restrictive. On the other hand, you also want to be in a position where you are able to at some level decide on how you're going to build a database about what kind of skill sets need to be developed, how those skill sets are going to become relevant as you go along, and of course, impact on different industries. And while you think about that, you're also going to have to analyze and look around you to see what initiatives and steps are already being taken by different parties to make sure that you're able to bring all of it to a place where people are able to actually see what is available for them and then take advantage of those courses that are available to them, which will then reskill them and help them what do you call in the businesses or in the daily chores that they do. Now, let me explain this. As government, when we speak to people about investment in the country, these conversations revolve around many different sectors. Many of the companies that decide to come to Malaysia, they've also spoken to us about training. So they say to us that they will make sure that they train a certain amount of people, and of course in different areas. And that's most welcome because I think that's something that they do, which I think is very important, and we welcome that. That's people who are going to invest in the country. We also have many local companies who do the same. They are, this innovation. They are looking at building themselves, and at the same time, they're prepared to offer what we call courses that focus on people, different sectors, so as to empower these people. But here's the catch, right? Is there any mechanism that actually audits what goes on? You need to know exactly who is offering what. You need to also then have data as to whether or not these courses are actually reaching the target audiences that will actually benefit from these courses. Because otherwise, what will happen is you're going to end up training or offering someone a course in something that what you call is of no use to him in the industry that he is currently in. Then you need to also be able to look at the amount of people that have actually received this training and whether or not it's actually helping them.
Mm.
Because a lot of people come and say to me that, sir, this is a company that has trained me in this particular course, but is it recognized by government?
Mm.
So there's also a need for us to understand what actually goes into that training,
Sure.
and then to somehow think of a mechanism by what we can actually there must be some form of accreditation, whether or not that can also form, by way of a digital badge. If a person says that they have actually had that training, put it on their resume. It helps them when it comes to job employment. And now with the digital world, right, you're actually able to use these mechanisms to actually empower yourself in terms of your resumes, how it is you are now able to say to people that, yes, my basic degree is in this, but I've had this training. This is what the courses have offered me. That's how it strengthened me in my area. I've upskilled, I've reskilled, and there's accreditation by government. So it's going to be really, to me, it has to be a national agenda. It's got to be a collaboration and between the government, the private sector, the public sector, the academia, and everyone else, so that we can succeed. But rest assured, as far as I'm concerned, my ministry is concerned, we are here to make sure that we succeed and succeed together.
Absolutely. No, thank you, sir. So, Eklavya, very quickly, just to you, how is Coursera helping policymakers like the minister, okay, on this journey to help their public services, public servants, okay, upskill themselves?
Yeah, and maybe I can also just elaborate a little bit on
Yes,
what
sir.
Mr. Gobind said, and he very eloquently put all the things together on
Okay.
how the academia, public sector, and the private sector needs to come together. One of the things that we have seen and is very important is to start at the grassroots level, because unless we change how we are teaching in schools and colleges, we won't be able to make a big change for future, right? We might be able to fix the current problem, but we may not be able to solve the problem for the future. And that's why we need to develop talent at this grassroots level. And one of the things that we are working with the governments is to look at how do you measure the impact at university and college level. Because if you look at the education system, it is designed according to the academic disciplines, but the real world is designed according to the skills.
Mm.
So, and the syllabus don't change for years, but the outside world changes every 6 months. So how do we make sure that the students are learning something which is not only relevant for them for today, but also helps them as they step out of their campuses and colleges? So how do you make sure that the students are learning which is included in the syllabus, but also something which is industry recognized? And some of the countries in Asia are also recognizing that, which is helping the university students to earn credits while they are gaining micro credentials,
Mm.
micro credential certificates,
Right.
because they are earning the micro credentials directly from the industry. They are learning something which is very relevant for their roles. And second, it's important for their academic disciplines as well. So that's more policy change needed at the education level. Second is the standardization of the skill. And again, Minister mentioned that do we have the digital badges or the standardization of the skill? Whether I'm in Kuala Lumpur or Johor or Penang, if I'm building a skill, I should be rest assured that everybody who's developing the skill is at the same level. For
Mm.
example, if there is a role that opens up in the government sector, three different individuals who have developed the skill should feel confident that they are at the same level if they have acquired that digital badge, because that gives a uniform level playing field for everyone who's aiming for that job. And the third, extremely important nowadays, if you compare it with the IT inventions, innovations in the past, if you were to think of data center or blockchain or green technology or cloud, it was limited only to the IT functions,
Mm.
only the technology team. But AI and generative AI for the first time is a real general purpose technology. Whether one is a teacher or lawyer or banker, each one of us need to develop those skills. So how do we work at a broad level to help individuals, irrespective of their function or industry, to develop those digital IT skills, but very specifically AI and generative AI skills.
No, absolutely. You know what? It's no longer. I mean, think about it. 5 years ago, everybody said, "I need data scientists." Malaysia said that to me. Indonesia said that to me. Singapore said that to me. Guess what? Nobody wants data scientists anymore because data has been democratized, right? We call data blood at OpenGov. We don't call it oil because it needs to be consumed, right? The more you use data, the more data creates itself, and that's where the insights come from. Gentlemen, it's been extremely helpful in understanding, getting your time over here. Okay, I think the way you guys have both described this is absolutely important. I think public and private sectors have to work together now to ensure the skill sets are always evolving. Minister, I thank you so much for your time, sir. Really appreciate this and your insights. Eklavya, same to you. Okay, that's all I got for right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Eklavya, thank you, Mohit.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
absolutely.